Hey everyone, I'm Timetravelling and welcome to Induction. What is Induction, you ask? I like to call it a minimalistic time-traveling cubes puzzle game. It just left Steam Early Access today and this is what it looks like. So this game is about cubes. You control the big cube and the goal is to get the big cube to the small white cube. And you do so by moving around and activating switches and stuff. So we have a white outline here and that's a switch. When I step into it, it will make, in this case, a bridge appear, which would allow me to cross the gap and get to the goal. However, as soon as I leave the switch, the bridge disappears again, which prevents me from finishing the level. So how do I get around this? Well, by time traveling. However, time travel in this game is a little unique because you don't actually time travel yourself, and instead you make the whole world around you travel back in time and in the process create a clone of yourself. So let me demonstrate. I reset the level, I move over here to the switch, and now I wait for a few seconds, and then I press the space bar. Pressing the spacebar will completely reset the level without affecting me, so I will stay there. I can also move over here if I want before traveling back in time. I will stay at this exact position, but the level will completely reset and create a clone of me, which will perform the exact same steps as I did before. So he will move to the switch and activate the bridge. So let's press space. Watch the clone, he goes to the switch, activates it, now the bridge is there, and I can cross the gap and get to the end of the level. And there we go, that's it. And that's the core mechanic of the game. Okay, let's do one more level to explain this or demonstrate this a little further. So in this level, we have a pill which we can push around, as you can see here. And there's a pill-shaped switch, and as soon as we push the pill over the edge on the switch, the bridges will swap. So I push it over, one bridge disappears, but the other bridge appears. So now I could cross the second gap, but I can't get there because I can't cross the first gap anymore because the bridge is gone. So again, I press space, which will, as I said, make the world around me travel back in time without affecting me. So everything will be reset, including the pill. So this will reset the switch as well and make the bridges swap again. And so let's do that. I press space. The bridge is there again, I can cross the first gap, and now my clone will push the pill over the edge and activate the switch, which will swap the bridges and allows me to get to the end of the level. So let's wait for it. There we go. I can get over there and finish the level. And that's the core mechanic of the game. And there are a few more mechanics, but not much. So this is what most of the game resolves around. And it's a really, really cool mechanic, which creates a lot of interesting challenges. And an important question when critiquing a puzzle game is always, is the level design good? And I have to say, I'm really, really happy with Induction's level design. The difficulty curve is not perfect, but it's pretty close. Every level is fun, or almost every level is fun. Almost every level keeps you on your toes, presents you an interesting challenge, and without creating an insane difficulty spike, at least so far. I didn't complete the game yet, but so far that's the case. And every few levels, every few levels, the game forces you to learn a new trick or technique. And I don't talk about a new mechanic. I talk about a new way of using those mechanics. This level is a good example. So in this level, we don't actually have a switch. We just have the pill. The pill is, however, an obstacle because it prevents us from getting to the exit of the level. So how do I do that? Well, obviously the answer is time travel, right? Because that's the answer in this game to every puzzle. But it's always the question about how to use a time travel. Because if I just travel back in time, the pill is just here again, and I'm stuck again, and my clone will not help me much either. So what do I do instead? Well, as I said, pressing space will reset the world, but will not actually affect me. So I stay where I am. In this case, if I stay here and I reset the level and therefore reset the position of the pill, I will be on the other side of the pill and can go to the end of the level freely. There we go. That's how it works. Okay, let me show you one more level with just those mechanics. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Because this one is interesting as well. So in this level, we have pills, 2 pills in fact, and a switch. And you can see the switch looks a little weird. The reason for that is that the switch is actually in the air. So this pill will not actually activate the switch. I have to get a pill 1 higher. And I do that by obviously stacking the pills. But how do I do that? Well, it doesn't work really. Like, how do I do this? I can't get this pill in the right position to get the other pill on it, but I can't get back up there. Well, I can't but my time travel body can. So I can press space. Well, that's not really helping. How do I do it instead? Well, reset, push the pill over the edge, follow up. Now push this pill over here, press space. Actually, that was stupid. Just press space. No. Okay, I screwed it up. Luckily, there's a rewind key, which allows me to reset time. Rewind time. There we go. Okay, so before I push the pill, press space, push the pill over there, wait for my clone to get the other pill there, and now I probably fucked it up. Yeah. Okay, now I can activate the thing and get to the end of the level. However, I will not actually be able to beat the level because I made the clone, like I moved the clone because it was on top of the pills when I moved it, which stopped the clone from getting to the position where I time traveled, which breaks the infinite loop, because every level is basically an infinite loop. So I prevented infinite loop, and that is a requirement for this game to actually, or for the level to actually finish, or for every level to finish. So it will not allow me to actually finish, and I have to reset. But you see how this worked. And that's also the reason why you always have to wait for your clone to get to the end position, or the time travel position, before the level will actually end. Because it has to actually get to the right position. And if it will not, then the loop is broken, and you're not allowed to proceed. Okay. So much for the core mechanic. I didn't complete the game yet, but I encountered one more mechanic, and that one completely changes the game again and makes you think in way different ways than you did before. So this looks normal on first glance. We have a pill, we have pill-shaped switches, but something is a little weird. There's how do I solve this with one pill? So I can get the pill over here, which will activate this bridge, but how do I get the pill there? Because as soon as I move the pill, it will obviously destroy the bridge, so I can't do that, right? Okay, can I solve this with time travel maybe? Let's go over here, press space. Okay, that makes the pill disappear or reset, and my clone will now move it there. Let's fast forward time a little bit. There we go. But what do I do now? Like, now I'm in the same position actually as before, and I just blocked my clone a little bit. Doesn't really matter. And that's not helping. You might have noticed though, every time I touch the pill, well, you might have noticed there's a white dot on the pill, and you might have noticed every time I touch the pill, it changes the color. That's because the pill becomes part of me. And every time I travel back in time, everything that's part of me, so me, for example, and every pill with a dot that touches me, will not travel back in time. And similar to the fact that I get a clone of myself created, there will be a clone of the pill. So when I touch the pill when pressing space, there will be a new pill, and I will keep the original pill. And now I can wait for the clone to put the pill on the switch, hopefully, anytime. Okay, let's fast forward. There we go. That creates a bridge, and I can get the other pill here and get to the end of the level. And that completely changes the dynamic of the game and opens up the possibilities for tons of new tricks and techniques to learn, and tons of new challenges and levels, and that's really cool. And also, I love the music of this menu. I don't know why. It's not really the kind of music I usually listen to, but I find this to be really catchy. It's really cool, I don't know, I really like it. In general, like, the music design in this game is pretty well done. Obviously, the visual design is very, very minimalistic, but it's quite enjoyable, it works. Well, actually, to be fair, if we go back to the one level I showed you, the visual design can get in your way sometimes. So in this level, it's actually, because of the very minimalistic level visual design, it's kind of hard to see what is what, really. Like, where is the switch located exactly? It's kind of hard to see at first glance. And also, because this surface has the same color as the one below, it's kind of hard to see the dimensions. Well, it's actually impossible to see. You can only guess it because you see the other surface. But it's not really obvious how the dimensions of this thing are. Like, how is this shaped exactly? That's kind of a problem with this visual design, but yeah, besides that, it's fine. It's very minimalistic and abstract, obviously. So that's yeah, some people like that, some people don't, but it works for the most part. So, okay, now I showed you the good parts. Let me show you the level I hated so far, hated the most so far, which is this one. So in this level, you can push the pill over here, which will activate bridges, which prevents you from getting anywhere. But if you don't push it over there, you just fall down here, which is not helpful either. Again, this is a good example where the visual design fails. Like, this looks weird. This looks just strange. Like, the edge, it's just weird. Especially when the cube falls behind that, because it seems to be blocked by something invisible. It just looks strange, but doesn't matter too much. Like, there should be an outline, I think. That would help, probably. Anyway, so in this level, you have to get your timing right. So figuring out how this level works is interesting, but actually completing it is annoying. And that's always what I hate in puzzle games. Like, when I have the solution in my mind already, and I just struggle to actually execute it. Especially when the core mechanics are not actually fun. Like, the moving around of things is not fun in this game. It's not supposed to be fun. Like, the fun is coming from the puzzles, but well, at least the mechanics don't get in your way, like the movement. Like in many other puzzle games where the core mechanics are actually boring. Like, the movement is boring, or actually not just boring, but like annoying to do, like annoying task of moving things around, and sometimes the controls are fiddly or whatever. That's not the case here. It's just not interesting either. And in this level, it's actually a little annoying because you have to get your timing right. So you have to push down this pill. Let's actually reset. Push down the pill. Get over here, reset time, get the timing right, try to jump. Oh, I got it first try. I'm very proud of myself. Yeah, so you have to jump at the exact right time to make the bridge appear at the exact right time, so you end up on the right level of, level of the level, right, level, I guess, and get to the exit. I really hated that level, but I think it's the only one that requires this sort of timing, and most of the other ones were quite fun. So one other important thing in puzzle games is also how is the level unlocking handled. And in this one, it's not terrible, it's not great either. So the problem in puzzle games is people can get stuck. Sometimes your brain just freezes and you can't get your head around a level, and you can't solve it. Maybe you come back next day and it's super easy, but sometimes you just get stuck in a moment and you can't solve it. And that's always frustrating, especially if there's no way of just go around it. And in this game, the levels are located on these weird rings, on the circle, basically. And sometimes it's a linear path, like here. To get to this level, I have to solve this one first. And when I solve this one, I unlock this one. So I have to solve all those levels sequentially. And I think that's kind of on purpose, because the things you learn in one of the levels will probably be used in a later level. It still would be nice to have like an alternative path, and at some points you have that. Like in this case, you can go down here and solve those, or you can just go over there. Actually, I think those are kind of optional. I think solving this one is actually not unlocking this one. Or is it? Maybe it is. I can't remember really. Anyway, so sometimes you get alternating paths. Like here, you can go down here or up here. And you can choose to go there this way, or you can choose to go come from here. So sometimes you get alternative paths, or just at least unlock multiple levels at the same time, so you're not stuck with this one level. Sometimes you don't. And as I said, I think it's supposed to prevent you from getting into levels that require techniques that the game didn't teach you yet because you skipped other levels, but it would still be nice to have a way to get around that. So yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but it's not a deal breaker. As I said, so far none of the levels had a really crazy difficulty spike, so that worked pretty well so far. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the option menu. The option menu is, well, parts of it were pretty good and parts of it are pretty meh. So, but at least it's not terrible. It has everything that is there, but some things could be a little better. So we have video options. For a 2D game, that's pretty okay. At full screen and window mode, unfortunately no borderless window mode, but okay. It doesn't have resolution options, but it doesn't really need to. Okay, it would be nice to have proper resolution options for full screen, because you basically have 3 presets. Full screen, or it goes to half resolution, or quarter resolution, which looks awful. Oh yeah, that doesn't work in recording, I just realized. So that's not happening on my screen, what you see right now. The game is still full screen on my screen, it just got more pixelated, but the recording will actually pick it up as being smaller. That's not what actually is happening. Anyway, if you put the game in window mode, you can just resize the window to whatever you want. So you don't need resolution options for that. But having proper resolution options for the window full screen mode having a borderless window mode would be great. But it's not really a deal breaker. You can lock or unlock the frame rate. It's not really necessary to have a high frame rate in this game because obviously there's not much going on anyway. If you still prefer it, you can unlock it, but if you're concerned that your laptop is going to overheat, or if you're concerned about your video recording as then you might want to lock the frame rate. I actually didn't check to what it locks. I assume it locks to 60. I'm not sure, but if you so desire, you can just unlock it. And then there are a few anti-aliasing settings, presets, which is good, I think. Not really necessary. Like, this game will probably run on a potato, at least I hope so. It runs very well on my computer, but it's a pretty good computer, so that would be to be expected. Anyway, so we have separate audio sliders. That's good to see. The menu works a little weird, actually. That's a little unintuitive. If you go into a sub-menu and you press escape, you completely close the menu. Instead, you have to press the Q button, which is back, to go back to the main menu. A little unintuitive. I usually expect escape to go back, but it's not doing that in this case. Anyway, controls. You can rebind the keys with the remap keys option thingy, but it's annoying because you have to remap them after each other. Let me show you. So you activate that, and then it will ask you for all the buttons, and you actually don't know what all the buttons are necessarily. Okay, the rewind button, is that the reset button of the level or rewind time? Well, it is rewind time, but that's not quite obvious at first. Then there's a primary action key, which is usually space, and then there's a secondary action key. I'm not sure what that is for. I assume there's another mechanic I didn't found yet later in the game, which requires a secondary action key. And then there's the reset key and the back key. There we go. So it would be more nice to have a table for that and change like that. That would allow you to change one key without changing the others. You can reset all of them if you screwed up the key settings. And this one is interesting. Basically the game is diagonal, right? So it's not quite clear where is down and where is left or right. Like is down there or is down there? And that's not quite obvious. And the default is that down is there on this side, but you can change that by switching the movement skew to left. So if it feels weird to you, you can just change it. That's good. I think this one is for controllers. So again, I press escape instead of Q. You can reset the progression if you want to. Again, I'm an idiot. And interesting, for colorblind people, you can activate a grayscale mode, which, well, removes all the colors, which is unfortunate because I really like the trick the game does. Like, every time you reset the time, it changes the color, and it will keep it to the next level. So it always changes. And also, I like how they did the menu. Like, when you watch, you're sitting... Well, let me go to a level you actually saw me solving. This one. So when you're sitting in the level select screen, you can watch the level, if you solved it already, play out, and it will always play the infinite loop I mentioned earlier. So and that's kind of cool because it also switches the colors, and that's just a really nice touch. Actually, probably this one is a little better because it's shorter. So you see the clone, and then you see the... Okay, it took a long time by solving this, so it's not as smooth. But basically, now it gets the transition in a moment. Okay, I want to show you that because I think it looks pretty cool. So let me solve this really quickly to increase the effect. 1, 2, 3, that should be enough. Get over here. And get in here. There we go. And now you can watch it, and it will always do the thingy and resets and creates this infinite loop of cubes solving this level. So that's really cool. Like, it's really clever. I like it. It's just awesome. Okay, I think that's everything. The game was in early access for quite some time. I think actually since 2015. So yeah, that was a long time. Not much changed actually. A few things changed. What I would like to see is like a little improvement on the visuals. Yeah, it's supposed to be minimalistic, but the switches really look like placeholders in my opinion. And as I said, some things are hard to figure out. But the level design is great. The puzzles are good and fun and challenging to do. and the time travel mechanic is kind of unique and interesting to play around with. So I really recommend this if you're into this sort of puzzle game, and I assume you do because you didn't turn off the video yet. So yeah, the link is in the description below. I'm THPine. I thank you a lot for watching. I really appreciate if people watch my content. That means a lot to me. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe to watch more of my content, and yeah, have fun and see you next time.